What's going on, fine people of YouTube? It's your boy, the Frenchman, the OG Frenchie. I am back out here in the shop for round two of sheath making. So I just did a live a couple of days ago where I talked about making a sheath. And so the time to work on this sheath, basically template of the sheath. Hey, what's going on, buddy? How are you, man? Little River Forge in the house. I actually just watched right before I hopped in here, I watched your short of your slip joint that you just got through making where you almost cut off your finger. I love it. That's pretty good. Hey, you're not a real knife maker until you at least cut yourself pretty good with your own knife. That's what I say. So yeah, happens to the best of us, I suppose. I actually did cut my pinky on Thanksgiving. I was cooking up the turkey, getting ready to cut it, and being a knife maker, I'm like, I gotta use my own knife, right? So I ended up using the pipe wrench knife that I made, and I don't know how I got my pinky, but I was holding it wrong, and I touched my pinky and I was pretty much bleeding pretty good. I had to super glue that sucker. It's the second part of the quench. That's right. That's right. So yeah. So anyway, like I said, I don't really have big plans for this live stream. Really, just hanging out, just saying hey to whoever hops in. I'm out here in the shop, just kind of goofing around. The last live stream I did, I made this template for a leather sheath for this knife. This is a Farrier's rasp that I made, Farrier's rasp knife that I made, just kind of a camp style knife, and needs to have a sheath. I really want to be able to sell this. I made another one, pretty much same profile. I ended up selling it on our Etsy store. I sold it to a viewer named Ruben. What's up, RC? How's it going, man? I'm glad you made it as well. What's going on, buddy? What are you up to today? Probably doing some bush crafting, maybe making a knife, doing some videos. I really like the stuff that you've been doing lately. Little River, if you don't watch RC's videos, go check them. They're all super crisp. He does a lot of like welding up butt plates and stuff, and they just look super good. What's up, Amber Wolf? What's up, Duck Rabbit? What's up, Newt's Leather, my man? What's up? Glad you guys could make it. I am hanging out in the vertical live. Duck Rabbit told me the other day I was in horizontal mode, and he said, unless I want to attract a bunch of grandmas, I need to flip the phone back up vertical. So, and already we got more people in here, which is cool. And we got Mike from Sam Doll and Son. What's up, buddy? How are you? Hope you're doing good. I got all my people in here. What's up, y'all? I'm glad you guys made it. I'm always commenting with a lot of these people on the videos that I put out and stuff, so it's cool that you guys can make it. I'm probably not as cool or as interesting live as I am edited, but hey, it is what it is. I'm pretty much hanging out here in my lawnmower shed working on a leather sheath. So yeah. Amber Wolf says, how are you? I'm doing good. Amber Wolf, how are you? Elijah says, hi. What's up, Elijah? I just got from making a couple of arrowheads. Heck yeah, let's go. We are all here to support you, Frenchie. Love it. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. So, yeah, so the last live stream, pretty much made the template, and today I thought I would finish kind of going through some of the steps of kind of cutting it out and the next steps. If you've made a leather sheath before, then you're probably right on par with me. I think I've made a total of 4 or 5. So I like to be a teacher of things that I know really well. Leather sheath making is not one of them. I know a little bit. I know enough to be able to put stitches in it and hold the knife. I'm not super creative with leather work just yet. But I mean, it is cool. And some leather sheaths that are out there are just fantastic. People have mad skills. And when it comes to sheath making, I'm not one of them. I've only made one with my dad. Right on. Yeah, most of the sheaths I've been doing lately are like Kydex style sheaths. See if I got one around here. I'm not very great at those either. Here's one I made for this little dagger. And it's the one thing I don't like about Kydex is it's, unless you are better than me, you have to get the Kydex a lot bigger than you'd want it to be. This is a super skinny knife, and it's just a huge profile on the sheath. And, you know, that kind of stinks. I guess you could do the taco style, and that cuts down on it a little bit, and I've made a few of those. But yeah, Kydex is really cool, super easy to get into. You don't need a whole lot of material. And what's cool is if you mess it up and it doesn't fit super well, then you can heat it back up and try again. In fact, I actually, let's see if I got it. I got it right here. I actually burnt this piece of Kydex. It was Christmas Eve, so a few days ago. And I threw it in the oven. I was out here in the shop. I'm like getting ready to make a sheath for this knife. Threw it in the little toaster oven and went inside. And then all of a sudden my grandpa, my mom, my dad, and I think maybe my brother and my sister-in-law all showed up at once, and I wasn't expecting them. So of course I couldn't just run back out here. I had to say hello to all of them. Long story short, I ended up burning this Kydex and almost threw it away. But I decided to cut away some of it and try again. And so this one is one that does not have any rivets in it, and it's much smaller or closer to the profile of the blade. You know, there's not a whole lot of extra Kydex in this, but it works. You know, the edge is pretty much just super glued together. I kind of opened it up with a screwdriver, super glued it, and it's pretty much working, at least for now. And then have just a little like snake knot deal on the end to be able to hold your finger in it and take it off. So yeah, sheath making is something I'm still trying to learn. Piece of junk. Duck, did you just call me a piece of junk? Just kidding. I've made one proper leather sheath and it works great, but it looks like a piece of junk. Yeah, mine aren't super great either. Much like knife making, right? Your first knife is probably a turd, dare I say, unless you've got like super great teachers or a buddy that's made one that's helping you. My first knife is very laughable. In fact, I have it right here. And I think I've probably shown it before in some other videos. I call it the butter knife. I did not make it with the intention of spreading butter, but that is about what it's good for. I actually may not have it in here. I thought I did. Oh, here it is, right here. Yeah, so the first probably 10 knives that I've made were pretty awful. This is one of them. The very first one I ever made was made out of a metal file. And it's pretty horrendous. The bevels were made on a 4x36-inch wood belt sander, and the handle is walnut, and the shape is pretty goofy. In fact, it still feels pretty goofy. Each time I pick this one up, I'm like, oh, I gotta fix that. Oh, I gotta I gotta clean up those bevels. Oh, this handle's terrible. I need to reshape this. But I have to tell myself, no. Matt, don't do that, because it's just a good reminder of where I started. And I really did put everything that I had, all my knowledge and all my love, time, and attention into making this thing, and it is pretty goofy. So yeah. Anyway, let's see. It's not that dirty. Hands clean. Work doesn't apply with leather. It's gray. No, no 4x36 bashing allowed. Yes, much respect to my 4x36 and yours. You said you're getting the Grizzly grinder, right? Did you get it, or it's on the way maybe? That's pretty cool. I actually have some big plans for this coming year on the channel. I'm going to be building a 2x72, and I'm going with the house-made 2x72. Just looking around at prices, it's just hard to beat. I don't know any other bladesmiths besides you guys, so I don't really have anybody that's owned one or given me different feedback about them. I mean, I've read a little bit on them. They look like solid machines, and for the money, I just don't think you can beat it. I mean, it's pretty stinking cool. Are you going to Atlanta Blade Show? No, probably not. I would love to go to a Blade Show. Brian makes awesome stuff. He's for the people. Yes, he is. Seems like a super cool guy. I don't know him personally, but it's just like he seems like one of the gang. You know, just another blue collar type of guy that makes stuff for other blue collar people. But yeah, I pretty much have the VFD sitting in this box behind me, so that's the main component, and the motor down below that. But like looking at this one cardboard box that's about yay big, this cardboard box costed more money than my whole grizzly grinder. So the VFD is really quite expensive. I feel like that's one of the bigger items. And I thought, okay, if I can at least get the VFD and the motor for now, I can continue to save up and just buy the weld it yourself package. So that's what I plan to do. Another Florida man. Oh, is he from Florida? Right on. Actually, I was born in Florida in Bartow, which is right kind of by Lakeland, which is maybe 45 minutes east, I think, from Tampa. And then I ended up living in Jacksonville for not quite half my life, but lived in Jacksonville from second grade through high school, and then ended up moving back there after a couple years of college and met my wife there. And Florida is awesome, man. I am a Florida guy at heart for sure. Suwannee County here. Yep, okay. Good luck with the welding. I've heard you're pretty new to it. Hey, I was born in Jacksonville. Right on. That's cool. Yeah, as far as the welding goes now, I can definitely do that. I actually do that for a living. And if there's one thing that you need me to do and need me to do it good, it's definitely welding. That's for sure. So luckily I got that part covered. And the rest of it really doesn't look too hard. I've watched a couple videos on some people building them. It really just looks like if you take your time, you measure things out, then you should be good to go. So I'm excited for that. I'm definitely saving up some quiche, and then we're going to throw down to get it. And I'll probably try to make some videos on it. I feel like there's already quite a few videos out there of people welding them up and stuff, but I may not make a whole build series on it, but at least document some of it. And I'll be here for the people behind me that are doing it that have questions. I'm sure Brian House is available as well. He seems like, you could probably email him and get it done. Anyway, so back to the sheath making. So I'm pretty much just trying to finish cutting the leather out. I've got the template. I actually already have the welt done. And I don't know about you guys, for me, it's easy for me to take the template and use the template for the welt. So you pretty much just cut, however wide you want your welt, which I guess mine's maybe 1/4 inch or so. But depending upon how wide you want to make it, you pretty much already have it from the template of the sheath. So that part's pretty easy. Really, the leather sheath making in general, nothing is really hard. It's all pretty easy, but it's one of those things where it's like the more time you put into the fine details, the better the sheath becomes. So it's just a matter of how much time do you really want to spend on it. RC is making a slip joint. That's cool. Little River Forge is doing that as well. Little River, what's your first name? I've never asked you. Or Duck Rabbit. I don't even know if I know your first name. I think I asked you once, but I have slept many times since I've asked you. What are your guys' first names? I feel like I interact with you guys all the time, and I don't even know your first names. Yeah. My name's Matthew. I like Mike. Okay, Mike, I know you because I asked you not too recently ago. Duck's first name is Duck. He's not responding, but that's his first name. His mother was just mad the day he was born. I'm naming this child Duck. Anyway. Yeah, I appreciate you guys coming to hang out. I don't see any other comments popping up. You know, what was weird was I was watching the last live that I did in horizontal mode. I was watching it after the fact to just kind of look at the quality and also the microphone. This is something new for me, so I was making sure I could hear myself. I kind of just went into that live stream willy-nilly, you know. But I realized that I don't have great reception here. It looked like in the video it was cutting out quite a bit, so that stinks. It's been about 13 hours since my last burning accident. That's great. I feel like it's an AA group for, you know, instead of Alcoholics Anonymous, we're Knife Addicts Anonymous. Well, welcome to the group, brother. You're welcome. Yes, you do have an addiction to making knives. I know, once you go down that slip joint rabbit hole, it's hard to come out on the other side. I know, we're here for you, brother. Keep coming back. It works if you work it. My name is Ron. Right on. Okay, what's up, Ron? See, this is good. This is why I do this. Now I know you guys by first name. Now we can no longer say it's some stranger on the internet. It's Matt, the Frenchman, or it's Ron with RC Knives, or it's Mike with Sam Doll & Son Forge, and poor Duck. His mother hates him. The best life. You've heard about the support group for nagging wives. Yeah, man, that's a good one. I'm actually really lucky. My wife is pretty awesome. We get along really well and doesn't do a whole lot of nagging. You know, I just lucked out with her. It's called On and On and On. Pretty good, man. Pretty good. On and on and on. I love it. That's a good one. They sometimes do go on and on. Now, that's not necessarily nagging. That's just she wants to tell you about your day, and you want to go out in your lawnmower shed and make knives. And you got to pretend like you care sometimes. I'm just kidding. I do care. She's probably watching. She might be. She may not be, but there's a good chance she may be watching. Honey, I love you. Anyway, so yeah, right on. So I'm going to be cutting out this here leather. And for being a knife guy, right, you always see people who make knives who cut out the leather and they go straight for the box cutter, right? Because why not? I make all these sweet knives that'll cut the tits off a cow, but I'm going for the box cutter. I mean, it's hard to beat the box cutter, though. If you could make a knife this stinking skinny and have it hold up and cut like a champion, then you'd be doing something right. It is really quite hard to get a super slicey knife to hold up and hold an edge, you know, and compare to a box cutter. So, yeah. I am now just going to go and kind of cut the rest of this out. I don't know why, but I stopped cutting on this. You can kind of see we've got the outline traced out here. I was going to go ahead and just knock it out last night, and then I thought, you know what? I'm not doing anything tomorrow. I'll just wait till then, and it'll give me a reason to throw it on a live stream and say hello to my YouTube friends. I've got a great amount of YouTube friends. YouTube has been really cool. I am 38 years old, and I'm not big into social media. I don't have really anything other than YouTube. I guess I have a Facebook. I just don't ever get on it. So I've never really been a social media type of guy. I always watched YouTube. That was my thing, Google and YouTube. And maybe because I just, grew up and those were the two things to watch. But I decided one day, you know what? I'm going to film myself making my first knife. Why not? And I really found it to be quite fun. Not just the knife making, that's always been fun, but filming and editing, that's kind of fun too. And the more I do it, the more I enjoy doing it, trying to come up with different things to throw in the video, trying to up your game as a video, I guess you'd call a videographer maybe, or a guy with a camera and editing and, trying to figure out some of the other things that bring, at least a little bit of professionalism to your videos. It's something that interests me, and it's something. Never bet against it, Matt. Make me a shop scalpel. That would be good. Depending on leather thickness, I found long sheet metal sheets were the best. Nice. Yes, this must be for a big knife. It is for a big knife because it is a rather large print. Where'd it go? Right here. So here's the template. Here's the knife that we're making it for. It's kind of a, camping style knife. Anything that's like overly big and obnoxious, you can just call it a camp knife and get away with it. So that's what we're going with. It's overly big and obnoxious. But, the moment you need it to go through a branch or a log, it's got you covered. It'll definitely do that. So, anyway, yeah, let me keep cutting this out and we'll get this done. And then we'll be able to move on to the next step. Yeah, see, it's just hard to beat the box cutter. Really nice, crispy lines very easily. So, there's that. And that was pretty painless. Get rid of this little doohickey. So, yeah, so now I've got this much leather left. And I don't know what's going on with this piece here. It's like kind of discolored almost. And it feels kind of flimsy up in this area. It's a little flimsy over here as well. You just kind of have to pick the good spots of the leather, I suppose. Anyway, we'll save that for another project. Something else I want to try to do, which I've seen people do, is like a hybrid style sheath where it's like Kydex hiding inside of leather, so you get the cool look of leather with the clicky snap of the Kydex. That would be really cool to do one. I'm sure I could figure it out, and maybe one day I'll try. That would be sweet. Hey, I'm going to get on this grinder. I'll holler at you later, man. Okay, appreciate it, brother. Get me sometime. I want to do a collab or maybe talk you into trading one of my junky knives for one of your nice ones. That's awesome. Yeah, for sure. Hit me up anytime and we can do a collaboration. I'm down to clown with any of you guys. Pretty easy going, so whatever you got in mind. I'll definitely trade you one of my junky knives for one of your nice knives. I think that sounds like a great plan. I tend to make smaller knives. I'm not set up for bigger ones. Small grinder and small heat treat oven. Nice. What kind of heat treat oven do you have? I was looking at some the other day. I thought that would be a super great investment. And then I started looking at the prices. And I thought, you know what? The $15 bottle of propane sounds pretty good too. So yeah, I didn't realize they were that stinking expensive. So maybe finding the smaller one would be a little better. Yeah, so now that we got this cut out, now we're pretty much ready to before we bend this over and glue it up, I tend to do the belt loop next. And you've seen some people do like the cutout on top, like leaving a longer strip and then folding it back over. I guess would be on the back side. But yeah, using one full piece with the belt loop attached to fold it over. I really like that idea, and I think it looks great, but at the same time, I feel like then you start, you know, cutting out really weird shapes out of your leather, and I am a cheap son of a gun, and leather's kind of pricey, so I'm like, you know, I could maybe get a belt loop out of this piece. Probably not, but you know what I'm saying. Just like they make weird shapes, and unless you're doing a whole bunch of them, it's like, I'm gonna try to not do that. I've got a small heat treat. Oh, small even heat. It runs on 110. Heck yeah, dude, that's awesome. I feel like that's definitely something that a lot of people need, is power tools and equipment that runs on 110. I'm in a suburb of Springfield, Missouri, and there's houses all around me. I mean, literally, I'm 10 foot from the neighbor's back porch. So it's kind of, it's not the best, but you know, I could get 220, the 3-phase brought in here and get an electrician to do all that. I'm not an electric guy, don't really do much of it. But 110 seems to be like, you know, kind of the average Joe is what he needs. I'm an average Joe, and that's what I try to stick with. Maybe one day I'll be able to get some actual power, some 220 or something. A shop would be really cool. The next house we buy, if we ever move out of this one, that's going to be on the list, is space to build a bigger lawnmower shed. That would be sweet. As long as we are dreaming, I want a 12,000 square foot heated shop with 3-phase power. My guy, that's what I'm talking about. That would be sweet. And we can dream, Mike. We can dream. You're allowed to dream any dream that you want. That's what I say. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove some of where the center line runs in here. I'm just going to use this little edge beveling tool because that's really all I got. And I'm going to scratch out some of this leather to thin it out so that it will fold over a little bit easier. See if I can get this down on here. Not that you guys care about the steps of making a sheath. Maybe you do. More so just kind of hanging out with you guys, but I try to get a little better shot of what I'm doing. I don't know if that helped or not. Maybe, maybe not. Anyway, so yeah, so pretty much just trying to find the center, which seems to be about here, and then just kind of removing some of this leather just so that it folds over a little easier. That seemed to help on the last few that I've made. I don't know if it's necessary, but it's one of those things where, you know, I saw someone else do it and they made a cool sheath, so I'm going to include that in my step. And I understand why. You know, you're kind of thinning it out so that it doesn't, so it's not so hard to get it to taco over. That makes sense. So, yeah. What all do you guys got going on? I know Little River Forge has been going crazy with his knife builds. The dude puts out content left and right. He's been making some slip joints and folding knives lately. Duck was working on some hammerheads. Mike, I know you got your anvil. That thing is killer, man. We love the steps. You are doing great with our distractions. It's weird going live, you know? It's like, do I pay attention to what I'm doing, or do I talk to these people on my chat? I don't know. Those are the decisions of a guy in his lawnmower shed. What do you do? Yeah, so that, seriously though, that anvil is killer. Super cool. And I really liked your video with the ball bearing test. That was super interesting. And in fact, it's something I've never done. I've never messed with ball bearings and a rebound test or any of that. I actually, just out of curiosity, I just today got these in the mail. I ordered them on Amazon. They're, you know, 52 100 1-inch ball bearings, and I dropped these on the 1, 2, 3, 4 anvils that I have. And the one that I mainly use is the little Harbor Freight anvil. And now I know why, because that was really the only one where I could get, you know, if I dropped it up from here, it was probably rebounding just below it. It was really good rebound. I just recently got a massive 200-pound anvil for Christmas. My dad saw it, and he didn't know much about anvils. And in all honesty, I really didn't still know a ton. But come to find out, it's 200 pounds, so it's huge, but it's made out of cast iron. And dropping the ball bearing on that, you can tell that, I mean, it's like you drop the ball and it goes doink, and then it stops. It's terrible rebound, terrible. So super cool surface, because it is, like I said, it's massive, which will be great, and I'll definitely put it to use. You know, I could see it being handy for maybe planishing a large blade, something long where you need a big flat surface. I guess you don't technically need it, but you could use it for that. And what's cool about it too is the horn, instead of being perfectly coned, it's kind of flat and then has like some soft step downs and then kind of rounds out. So it's just a different shape, which I'm sure will come in handy. Did you get it on video? No, I didn't. I actually just got those ball bearings a couple hours ago, right before I turned this on, and went and did the quick test. And yeah, I've got 2 anvils that are made out of railroad track. Those both are pretty stank. And the cast iron one, like I said, you know, dropped it from up here and boop, and it might have came up to here. But the Harbor Freight one, I was hitting it all over the place. The horn, in the other section, really close to the 2 holes. You know, I was trying it all around, and there was one spot that was kind of closer to the edge on the opposite end of the horn that wasn't quite as good. It was maybe coming up to here instead of here, but that, you know, I think I paid $120 for that anvil, and as far as the rebound goes, it was pretty stinking good. Holland anvil surplus steel plates. Just get a long piece and put it on your big anvil, weld it on. That's a good idea. That, you know, I actually had that idea, but then I was thinking, well, you know, I've never done it before, but and then you would still have, right, sitting on top of the anvil in the middle. So even if you welded like the outside, would there still be kind of that dull spot in the middle? Or you're just using the weight and mass of the anvil, but you're using the hardened plate? I wonder if it would still be good. Maybe it would be, I don't know. But that is a great idea, because it is a massive chunk of steel. As I'm sure you know, I think you said yours was 400 pounds or something, and I had a great time sitting on my couch watching you struggle with moving with moving your anvil. I thought, man, this guy needs a hand. No, you actually did a really good job, but I can tell yours was incredibly heavy, and yeah, definitely a big piece of steel. So mine is a massive hunk of steel that doesn't have much rebound. I actually looked, I Google searched, what is a cast iron anvil good for? And Google said absolutely nothing. And I was like, what? Then why are they making them? Well, Google's Google's response was, because you're a sucker, pretty much. Well, not really, but they were like, well, you know, lots of people are getting into wanting anvils, and how can they cheaply make one to make it look like it's a killer one? So that may not be the only reason. They said some of the other uses were for light duty stuff, but 200 pounds is no joke. That's as much as I weigh, which is a large chunk of iron. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm not making a whole lot of progress on the sheath because I'm just talking, but, you know, this is still the goal. We're still going to try to make some progress here. So I think I need to remove some more material here. This is still pretty thick. This is 7 or 8 ounce leather, 8 to 9 ounce leather, something like that. So it's pretty good, thick stuff. I feel like that's kind of the standard anyway for sheath making. Maybe I'm wrong. But I think anything lighter than this, and I could see it maybe not working as good. Something thicker, a little bit thicker might work, but this is already pretty stinking thick. And, you know, it's not impossible to bend over, but you got to add quite a bit to get it to bend over. Okay, so now that we got that done, get all these leather hairs out of here. Now we need to do some sort of a belt loop. So we'll be using the large chunk again and cutting a belt loop. And what I typically do for that is something like this. I'll show you one of the other ones I've made. So here's another leather sheath that I made. This is for the very first knife that I ever made on the channel. This was the San Mai blade that I had so much trouble etching. And the reason why I had so much trouble etching this stupid thing was because I bought the steel on Amazon, and I swear to the big man above, before I welded this, it said 1080, 1080, and the middle, actually no, was it backwards? No, it was 1080 on the outside and 15 and 20 on the middle. And I swear it was stamped in the metal. Now you can tell that the 15 and 20 is etched and the 1080 is light. And that is because I used nail polish to cover up the 1080 and then darkened the 15 and 20 with, I think I did use ferric chloride for this. Anyway, what my conclusion is for this is that the steel was mismarked, because I had a perfect forge weld, and before I etched it, you could see this line, like literally right where it's at. You could see where the two metals forged together on both sides. And so I know the forge weld was good. But when I went to etch this thing, it was all etching exactly at the same rate. No matter how much I diluted the ferric chloride, it was still all just going at the same rate. So the 15 and 20 maybe didn't have hardly any nickel in it, or it got misstamped, or something happened. But anyway, yeah, that was a good lesson to for me to have, you know, is don't go buying the cheapest listing on Amazon for everything, right? Especially metal. It's hard for me to trust the metal anymore. And if you're going to go and make something like San Mai, or you're going to hand forge Damascus by hand, then you want to make sure that the metal that you're layering up is alternating steels. It would be absolutely god-awful if you spent a week hand forging out steel and it was all 1080, and you just turned, you know, 20 thin stocks of 1080 into one massive stock of 1080. That would be terrible. And I bet you multiple people have done that, including myself on that first knife. Now, it didn't take me that long, but this was a pretty good waste of time. It's still a really good knife, and it's got a pretty good edge still. I actually carried this one for a while at work, and it kind of a drop point recurve. That's kind of my signature. I don't know why I like it so much. I just do. Kind of the same thing that we got going on with this blade. It's just something about the profile that I really like. Anyway, I don't have any more comments in here. Hopefully I haven't hit a weird Wi-Fi thing like I did in the last video. Maybe you guys are still in here. Maybe you're not. Maybe you just don't have anything to say. Either way, I'm going to keep doing me, I suppose, and I'm going to cut out a little belt loop. So for the belt loop, I didn't want to overrun your comments. Do you like convex grinds? Will you guys shut up? I'm trying to work here. No, I'm just kidding. Yes, so I'm glad you're still here. I don't want to overrun your comments. You're not. I appreciate you guys talking to me. And do you like convex grinds? I do. I do like convex grinds. I got a knife with the convex grind somewhere. It's probably where I can't get to it, but I do. I like them. I really like all kinds of grinds. I mean, I still haven't done all of them yet. The hollow grind, that's something I'm trying out more. That's a really cool grind. The full flat grind, I've done a few of those. Scandi grinds, saber grinds. You know, I'm not sure what other ones there are. The chef's one with the S. There's some other cool type of grinds you can do. I think experimenting is cool. There's one knife that I made that is around here somewhere. Yeah, this one, if I can reach it. This one has I guess you'd call it a compound grind or a multi-grind. I don't really know the term for it, but it's got a full flat grind on this side. So it's just all the way up the knife, and then I guess, I don't know what you would call that. No, this is the side with the full flat grind. Yeah, this is the flat side, goes all the way up the blade, and then this one stops right there. So I guess you would call that a Scandi, maybe, or a saber. I don't really know the difference, honestly. Let me know what you think. What's the difference between a Scandi and a saber? I don't know if I know that. But anyway, that one has a different grind on each side. Why? Because I goofed up the knife, that's why. Definitely not intentional. Or I could say, no, I totally meant to do that. Which, in all honesty, once I goofed it up, I was like, screw it. I'm going to do one side one way and the other side another way. Because I can, so might as well. So, yeah, there we go. And, yes, I need to cut this stinking belt loop. So let's go back to the handy box cutter. And for the belt loop, I am pretty much just going to try to eyeball the size piece that I need. And how would I do that right quick? Let's see. Maybe with a chunk of steel, I like that. So this would be a good width for a belt loop. And I say belt loop, but I really just mean a rectangle of leather. And then I'm going to stitch kind of like this other one or this one. I'm going to stitch just the top and the bottom. This was another knife. This was like knife number 3, maybe, or 4. And it's made out of a chop saw blade. And it's got some mustard etching on it, where I just did some squiggly lines of mustard. It's kind of cheesy, but, you know, it's kind of a learning process. You can see I really got excellent pin placement, especially on this one. I was shooting for just below center, and I nailed it. So that's pretty good. And, yeah, kind of a goofy knife. It's made out of a chop saw blade, and that was when I was still learning what metal to use and what metal not to use. And I suppose if you had knowledge of what type of steel the chop saw blade was made out of, you could make it work. This one was a wild shot in the dark and didn't turn out so great. But hey, you live and you learn. So yeah, so we're going for that style of belt loop. And just looking at this, it is about the same width as this piece of metal, so that's probably a good way to judge it. And it's about yay long. In fact, I think I remember this one being a little too big. Yeah, it was. So maybe another great way to do it is to use an actual belt. Hey, now you're thinking. So that'll at least give us the depth of what it needs to be, which will be good. And in fact, I think I'll go this way to save some leather, but so if we do this, We'll say maybe something like that. I think that'll be enough. That should be enough. Let's see. Get rid of this little piece. And go ahead and cut this maybe here. There we go. That ought to be pretty close at least. Excuse me. So yeah, something else I want to try too is instead of just having a squared off chunk for your belt loop, I want to try to somehow match the curve. So this would actually be opposite, but maybe somehow match the curve of the top like that. That way it's not like this, where it's all, you know, offset from the top. So maybe I'll do that. Maybe, just maybe. Although I cut it backwards for that. Unless I want to be a lefty, maybe I'll switch to being a lefty. I feel like if you're going to make a knife, though, and a sheath for a knife, it's probably a good, safe bet to make a right-handed sheath, especially if you're going to sell it. I mean, I know there's lots of lefties out there, but I think statistically, the right-handed people have the majority. I could be wrong about that. Maybe you could Google it, and we would know the answer in a second, but that is my guess. I feel like there's more right-handed people than there are lefties. So, yeah. So anyway, now that I've got the little piece cut, where are we at? We're at 47 minutes. I have been hanging out. You're right. Sorry, lefties. I know. That's what I'm saying. The lefties are whack. Do you know my whole family sitting inside my house, my 3 boys and my wife, are all left-handed. I don't know how the heck that happened. I'm outnumbered. Good for baseball, maybe, but other than that, I'm like, what's crazy is I'm on the far left seat of the dinner table, and I sit right next to my little kid who's a lefty. So him and I are elbowing each other during dinner. It's just, yeah, it's crazy. Just get with it and be a righty already. Anyway, your wife's a lefty too. Weird. Weird ladies and they're lefties, I swear. So, this is pretty much almost coming up on an hour. I didn't really plan to spend this much time. I thought I would make it much further, but I got to talking, and sometimes I ramble on, and I don't do a whole lot. So I'm probably going to end it here pretty soon, but at least wanted to share the idea of getting this cut out, taking a scrap piece of leather and attaching it to the back for the belt loop. Kind of like this one here. So pretty much the exact same idea. And that way you can string your belt loop through it and it can hang out right by your side. I've seen some other ones that look really cool that I want to eventually try, which is like the Scout Carry, or you see those like little pancake, I think they're called pancake sheaths for pocket knives. Those are super cool. I really only know how to do one style of leather sheath for now, and it's this kind. So I need some more practice, but I think at least we've got the general idea of the steps to do. I know in the last live stream I covered how to get the template, and that was pretty easy. So we got that done. This live stream I accomplished cutting this out, so made a ton of progress this live stream. Great job, Matt. And we also got this belt loop cut out backwards. So I'm on a hot streak today, and we have made a ton of progress. Aren't you glad you guys came along to this cool video to watch me cut the leather in the wrong direction? So, yeah, that about does it, I think. We're coming up on 50 minutes. My wife is inside with the 3 kids, plus I left her with an extra neighborhood kid in there. So I can't do her dirty like that. I really, an hour tops is really about where I'd want to call it. Even if I'm not live or I'm out here making videos, I really do try to just come out an hour at a time at most, you know, because leaving her inside in there with all the kids, you know, you want her happy at the end of the day. And it's a quick and easy way to make her unhappy by just disappearing your lawnmower shed for too long. So, you know, there's that. Buddy, much appreciated. Mike, thanks for hanging out. Ron, great to know your first name. Glad you guys hung out. And to everybody else in the live stream, you guys rock. Much appreciated. Look forward to seeing all the stuff that you guys are doing as well. It's so cool to get on and see that you guys have posted something new. I love to know what you're up to, and you know, just inspiration to keep going. I see some of the stuff that you guys do and I'm like, heck yeah, I need to do something like that. 3 kids under 4. Oh, dude, that is insane. 3 kids under 4. Yeah. My first 2 they're 15. My oldest is, no, he's not 15 yet. He will be in a week and a half. So I've got a 14-year-old, a 12-year-old, and those 2 were born first for a while. And then I've also got my youngest who's 6. So, but yeah, I feel you, man. 3 kids under 4. That's, yep, you're having a great time. No wonder you like to go out and hang out in your shop. I don't blame you. Hopefully your wife doesn't either. Every guy's got to have some shop time. I'm just saying it. If there's any ladies in here watching, which I'm sure they're not, but if you're a woman and you happen to watch this, let your man go out and hit the anvil. It's good for him. It's good for his soul. All right? Okay. Anyway, all right. Appreciate you guys, and catch you fellas in the next one. Peace.